Hi, everyone, and welcome again to El Pablo FC. And today we're going to be breaking down match week 5 of the Spanish League, Spanish La Liga. But obviously, we already know conventional wisdom over the years that La Liga was just simple. Basically, it's Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe Atletico Madrid sometimes. But obviously, we can now see that match day 5. Um, is telling a different story, and the league table suggests that the balance of power might be shifting, not with a bang, but also with quiet, relentless, and consistency of two unexpected title challengers. This weekend was not just a round of fixtures, but the critical juncture and a potential turning point because for the first time, it feels like an eternity that the top four spots in La Liga are occupied by Real Madrid, Barcelona, and two other clubs that absolutely no one predicted. And we're talking about Real RCD Espanyol and Getafe, and that's right, the promoted side from Catalonia and the rugged defensive masters from Madrid, and they are not just gate crashing the party, but they're also making themselves comfortable and threatening to, rearrange the furniture. And this weekend, they faced their biggest test yet. Um, Now, so in this deep dive, we're going to just go into game week 5 and talk about how it redefined the entire season. And we're also going to break down the tactics, the injuries, the psychology behind two of the most fascinating top of the table clashes in recent memory, and the results that um, have already provided a definitive answer to the question of who is truly prepared to mount a title challenge and who is punching above their weight. Now, the outcomes not only reshaped the top of the table, but also exacerbated the crisis at the bottom, creating clear and distinct tiers in the league's hierarchy. Um, the central narrative revolved around a strategic duel between position-based attacking football and pragmatic defensively solid approach. Now, the results and these marquee games, which featured multiple key players sidelined due to injury or suspension, have provided clarity and cementing the positions of Real Madrid and Barcelona at the summit, while deepening the struggle for survival for teams at the lower part of the table. First off is the showdown at the Santiago Bernabeu that no one saw coming. Real league leaders Real Madrid still flawless, but also um, a little bit battered, taking on surprising high flyers Espanyol and Xabi Alonso and his perfect Real Madrid side and side. Everything had been going exactly to plan, and they entered the game with a perfect 4-0 record. But look closer, and you see that the team's running on fumes and sheer willpower. The injury list also is growing with Trent Alexander-Arnold out with for an extended period, and the tactical news of Fallon Henley, Mendy, and Anthony Rudiger were also on expect on unavoided. That's the one thing. Now, if we're going to analyze deeper into how Real Madrid performed and how the game went, we're going to be talking maybe just going a little over the surface. It delivered the match week 5 basically delivered a high stakes drama, serving critical turning points in what now has begun to separate the early contenders from the chasing pack. And the central narrative, as I said, is revolved around the tactical battles between Real Madrid, who are perfect, and Real Mallorca. And RCD Espanyol, and then FC Barcelona's defensive juggernaut attempting to break down Getafe's notoriously disciplined defensive block. But the outcomes were these marquee matches, which featured key players that landed to injury and suspension, will likely shape the league's narrative. So, match day 5, at a glance, basically, the final scores from match day 5 have created a significant shift at the top of the table. Real Madrid and FC Barcelona both secured victories, moving them to first and second place, respectively. The scoreline was Real Madrid versus Real Betis versus Real Sociedad was 3-1. Girona versus Levante surprisingly was 4-0, 0-4 to Levante. Levante won Girona 4-0. Real Madrid played RCD Espanyol and they beat them 2-0. Deportivo Alaves versus Sevilla ended 1-2 to Sevilla. And Villarreal versus CA Osasuna ended 2-1 to Villarreal. Valencia versus Athletic Club ended 2-0 to Valencia. Real Vallecano versus Celta ended 1-1. And Real Mallorca versus Atletico Madrid ended 1-1. And then Elche versus Real Oviedo ended 1-0 in Elche's favor. And then Barcelona, the last game, versus Getafe ended 3-0 with one assist from Marcus Rashford. Now, with the league table, the conclusion of the weekend's fixtures has now produced a new league table which provides a clear picture of the early season landscape, with Real Madrid having 15 points in total, with +8 goals difference after 5 games. Barcelona just in behind, 2 points behind, 13 points, 5 games played with +13 goal difference. Villarreal are third with 10 points, 6 + 6 goal difference. Real RCD Espanyol still remain fourth with 10 points from 5 games with +1 goal difference. Elche surprisingly fifth, 9 points from 5 games with +3 goal difference. Real Betis sixth, 9 points from 6 games because they played 1 game extra with +1 goal difference. Athletic Club 9 points plus from 5 games with 0 goal difference, and Getafe dropped to eighth with 9 points from 5 games +2 goal difference. Now to break it down in depth, the opening marquee matchup is between Real Madrid and Espanyol was a perfect start, and it continues for Real Madrid basically. If you look deeper into it, you see that the matchup of the weekend was a clash of the league leaders at Santiago Bernabeu, with Real Madrid perfectly having a 4-0-0, which means they played 4 games, won all 4, and they faced a formidable Espanyol side that had been unbeaten. Now the match was a significant test for Xabi Alonso's side, who were contending with substantial defensive injury crisis, with key players like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Antonio Rudiger and Falamendi all unavailable, and defender Dinhausen also serving a suspension. Despite these absences, Real Madrid ultimately proved their class and squad depth. They secured a comfortable 2-0 victory with goals from Eder Militão, a banger from outside, and Kylian Mbappé, a banger from outside as well. The goals were scored on either side of halftime, with Militão opening the scoring and Mbappé netting his seventh goal of the season already in all competitions. This win extends Real Madrid's perfect run to 5 victories from 5 league games, and a feat unmatched by any other team in the league. And the result also was also played in front of the highest attendance of the season so far, and that is over 73,000 people. With Espanyol, while Espanyol put up a fight, their defense was ultimately unable to contain Real Madrid's formidable attack. And the truth is, the goals came from bangers from outside, so you can't do anything about those goals. So, which goal takes us to Barcelona versus Getafe, where attacking authority prevails. The final match of the weekend featured This was the final match for the weekend. It featured another top of the table clash, with Barcelona hosting Getafe, and Barcelona in second place faced Getafe side that had played a strong start, that had enjoyed a strong start to the season, albeit people touting the manager to be playing negative football. The game was also a quintessential clash of opposing tactics and philosophies. The Barcelona's relentless attack and the position-based system, going head to head with Getafe's disciplined defensive block and aggressive approach, despite the absence of several key players, including young Lamine Yamal due to a groin injury, and I heard it was also a back injury, and long-term absentees like Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Gavi. Barcelona secured a dominant 3-0 victory, and the Catalans were in complete control. And from the start, with Ferran Torres scoring a brace and Dani Olmo adding a third goal, Torres' 2 goals rewarded coach Hansi Flick's decision to recharge his attack, and Olmo's performance, which included a goal and an assist, highlighted the depth in Barcelona's squad. Getafe's tactical plan to disrupt play with fouls and low block proved ineffective, as they failed to register a single shot in the first half. This victory also solidified Barcelona's position at the top of the table as the top 2 contender. Not at the top of the table, but close to the top of the table, basically in second position, and demonstrated their attack even with injuries in formidable. It demonstrated that the attack even with injuries is formidable enough. Just to get my words out, formidable enough to overcome a dominant opponent. Now for RCD Mallorca, I keep calling them Real Mallorca. Yeah, it's Real Mallorca. Yeah, Real Mallorca versus Atletico Madrid, a struggle for form, and surprisingly, Atletico Madrid collapsing and clashing and crashing. Um, so this fixture that happened on Sunday was a critical battle for momentum, and it was between two teams under pressure. Mallorca was off to a sluggish start in the relegation zone, while Atletico Madrid were uncharacteristically low in the table and eager to rebound from their recent defeats. The match was a very tight affair that ended in a 1-1 draw and a result that did little to boost the standings of either teams, basically. Of either team. Now, the draw means that Mallorca remains in the relegation zone and Atletico Madrid are uncomfortably low in the table despite their winless form. Atletico was also contending with several key absences like Alex Benya, Jose Jimenez, and Thiago Almeida out due to injury, and then Julian Alvarez, a fitness doubt. So, which takes us to the next one, which is the defining themes of Matchday 5, the new La Liga hierarchy. The results of the um, pivotal match day have created a clear and defined league hierarchy. Real Madrid stands alone at the top with a perfect 15 points, a testament of their flawless and start despite a number of sneaker injuries and absences. Barcelona their convincing win puts them in second place with 13 points and solidifying the narrative of a two-horse race at the top of the table. The performance of Espanyol and Getafe, despite their losses, still holds significance. While they were unable to secure points against the league's heavyweights, um, their high positions in the table, Espanyol are fourth and Getafe are eighth, show that their early season form was no fluke. This suggests that while they may not be title contenders, they are serious threats to European qualification. Now, if we're looking at the struggles at the bottom, at the other side of the table, the situation became increasingly dire for several clubs. Girona and Mallorca's losses leave them at the very bottom of the table, both still searching for their first win, especially of the season. On the other hand, Levante's emphatic 4-0 win over Girona was a crucial result. Um, was a crucial result that pulled them out of the relegation zone and provided a much needed morale boost. Now the battle to avoid relegation is already heating up, and the outcomes of matchday 5 have provided a clearer picture of which teams are facing an early season crisis. Now to wrap this all up and wrap this match day all up, matchday 5 proved to be the pivotal weekend that that many had predicted. Real Madrid and Barcelona's decisive victories have firmly established them as the teams to beat this season. The resilience shown by Real Madrid and maybe individual performances at some point is in overcoming their injury crisis is a sign of a true champion, with Barcelona's fluid possession-based attack proving to be too much for a well-drilled Getafe defense. Now, the results have set the stage for an intriguing season where the title race looks to be a two-way contest, while the fight for European places and survival will also be more open than ever. Looking ahead, the pressure is now on the teams like Atletico Madrid to regain their form, and for the struggling clubs like at the bottom to find a way to secure their first victory in the season. The narrative has been set and the battle lines have been drawn for the rest of the campaign. What do you guys think? How did your team perform, especially for the Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid fans? What do you guys think? How do you think? When would you think that Atletico Madrid will get their first win? Barcelona, do you think they'll continue their winning streak, despite the fact that even they bench Rashford due to the fact that he was late for a team meeting before the game? Where do you think they'll finish? And I've heard that despite the fact that he was late, he was only late for 2 minutes, but then late is late, right? And Hansi Flick has rules. But for Real Madrid, do you think that they will still continue their early season form despite their injuries and all of that? I mean, Rudiger is out for a long spell. Alsen is still out for probably 2 more games, which means they will have to play defense um with either Militao Asensio. So what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we build towards match week 6. If there's any other news, we're going to bring it to you also on the platform. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything as it relates to all things football. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.